Yeah, my name is Omar Abdel Rahim. I'm a Muslim American. I'm a disabled veteran in the U.S. Navy, and I've lived in Fairfax County for over 20 years. And I have three children that are currently in Fairfax County Public Schools. And we really like Fairfax County. It's a great place to live. Our community is vast in the area, and it's substantial in size. So it's a good place for me and my family. Actually, I think the number is larger than that, just because we have some substantial sized communities in Fairfax County, and we have well over 10 to 15 organizations and communities. So I might argue I might argue the number be larger than that. Yeah, this is our biggest time of the year. It's a spiritual revival, and this is a way for us that gives us a consistent, habitual path to develop our spirituality, to get closer to God, and really learn more about our faith, and also to be more in tune with our community and the religion and what's required of us. Very. Oh, definitely. No question. It's critical because for us, it's all about. There's a reason why we're here, and so our mission is clear, and so it's just a matter of here we need to we we need to embark on that mission and we need to execute. It's very easy. So with all that being said, it's the fact that we have so many Muslim Americans here. It kind of helps us. We help each other and stand by each other to try to accomplish our mission. Yeah, so modesty is actually a key focus for Muslims. So really, the essential is to not show off. Basically, just to kind of mold into society, play a role, be modest with it. Specifically in our actions, our dress, and the way that we treat people, and the way that we treat ourselves. So it's a very modest way of life, and that's essential. Is a key part of every Muslim's life. So this goes back to the modesty we just talked
Mhm.
about. So for our sisters, we call them our sisters. So it's our daughters in school, and so we have the hijab, and so the hijab, at the time when that's prescribed, or for our daughters to start to wear it, is right about the age of puberty. But usually, in, to not make it such a drastic change, that usually we start having that discussion younger, much younger, maybe somewhere around the 7-ish age, just to kind of have the discussion and everything. So the understanding of why, and it's for modesty's sake. The reality is we believe that the modest dress will also promote a level of respect for that individual, so that this way they wouldn't be looked at with catcalls and things of that nature. So the modest dress for our sisters and our daughters is it's a crucial part. And usually, like I said, it's about the age of puberty is when you start to see it more prevalent in our communities. But usually there's the discussion starts much earlier. So it's important. It's part of their identity. And believe it or not, people sometimes don't understand this, but a lot of it, like my daughter, like she just came up to us on her own. We never pushed it, and she said, Mommy and Daddy, I want to wear the hijab next year. And this was from 6th grade to 7th grade. So that's what she wanted to do. So we supported her. We promoted it. And we had a party, and our friends come over, and they gave hijabs as gifts and things of
Mhm.
that nature. So it's actually it's a very big deal for us. It's very important. There are certain parts of the body that for both men, for boys and girls, that we need to cover, and also modest as well. We don't wear short shorts, and things of that nature. We have to wear shirts, which is basic. So yeah, there is a modest dress code as well for men. Boys, we don't wear gold. as an example, diamonds, things of that nature. Our daughters and wives and sisters and moms, they can do that. But for men, it's either silver or some other, but not gold. And it is conservative. You're modest. You're not supposed to show off. Walking around with big chains is not something more than likely you'll see in our community. But you might see it, but that's not prescribed. It's a good question. Yeah. So the way it works when in a place of worship, yeah, there is a segregation. And honestly, it's really just so we can keep our focus on worship. So if our sisters were ahead of us and we were behind them, you can understand a potential distraction. So the way we have it is we have it segregated so that we can actually have our focus on the worship specifically. Yes. Once our children reach or get about the age of 10, we basically we segregate that kind of stuff. I mean, we that's not a behavior that we're that within our religion, and even most of people of the book, the mixing, especially in dress rooms and bathrooms and this nature. I mean, this was never allowed even at younger ages. When I first got wind of it, at the time I was a president of one of the communities. So we were in a leadership role, and we had no idea when it and I'm trying to remember how I came across the information, and I can't remember for the life of me right now. But as soon as I found out, I started to investigate, and in my path, I wind up talking with organizations across the country, and then I wind up um, talking with some local individuals, as you may or may not know, and then it confirmed that at that time our entire community had zero knowledge or unaware completely of the fact that from how we understood it was that a child is allowed, or they wanted to let the child to use the bathroom of the gender that they identify themselves with, rather than their biological um, gender. And so at first we didn't understand what that meant. But then when you break it down in simple English, a boy can go to the girl's bathroom if he thinks he's a girl, and a girl can go to the boy's bathroom if she thinks she's a boy. And as soon as the community wait a minute, what? How did that happen? Why are you allowed to do that? And no, we can't have that. That's impossible. It's just not even realistic. So that's when things really erupted, is probably the best way to put it. Everybody went up in arms as soon as that came out, as soon as we understood that. And there was actually a case at the time, I think down in Gloucester, Virginia, or Southern Virginia. And then once that happened, then people really started to believe that that was real. Until then, they thought it was hearsay. And then once that came through the court system and hit the news and got on the Washington Post, that's when people said, okay, what do we have to do in order to learn more about this? But we were completely unaware. I don't think they have any knowledge whatsoever. Nobody's aware. Because the community is, although we're not small in number, but we are small in the circle. So these type of things don't go unheard of. So the fact that if someone would have known, the word would have probably circulated. And how I know that is we were able to get word circulated out to many communities. So we are not aware. No. Oh, they would be extremely upset. They would be annoyed. They would be shocked, I think is a word that would they would be, at first they'd be shocked that it's happening in 2018 in Fairfax County. I think they would feel a huge level of discrimination. Like, how could you possibly let boys in the girls' bathroom, even if you just remove faith? I mean, what's to stop a rape from happening? What's to stop that? What if there's only a boy and a girl in that bathroom? How would that happen? You know? I know my daughter, when she first heard about this a couple years ago, she says she stopped going to the bathroom at school. She said, I don't want to have to face that scenario. So now here you have children that are purposely not going to the bathroom when they probably should, right? So now there's a potential health hazard for, you know, for especially girls. I mean, and it's a teenager. I'm shocked. I'll be honest. To me, it's shocking. Absolutely shocking. And so all the way from the very beginning of they may not even be getting the same level of education as all the other students, because there's a second language spoken in the house.
Right.
But these children grew up here, they speak English just as good as anyone else, and they comprehend just as good as anyone else. But because there's a second language spoken at home, right, and that they're put in a different path of education. Mm-hmm. And so this is one of the arguments that we had, was that, hey, why we should, if our kids are able to comprehend the language and keep up, why wouldn't they be allowed to have the same path as any other student? Right. So that was one. And then obviously our daughters are, you know, that decide to wear the headscarf in school, they face heavy discrimination. It's a daily battle. You know, the one thing that I would say is, I would never wish any child to be discriminated against. But now, because of not getting the actual attendees of these schools' families notified and involved, now you've discriminated against the entire school system. I mean, now I don't know how many children fit this gender identity category, but I would tend to believe that it's probably the minority and not the majority, as compared to Muslim children that the school board themselves told me that they're estimating somewhere about 30,000 students in Fairfax County public schools that identify as Muslims. But yet there's nothing being done for them. So I would say, if discrimination is your mission and your focus, then you must be fair and just about it. And listen to the Muslim community, because they are big attendees of your school system, and their population is much more numerous, and now they're being discriminated against.